Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we unpack the sources you send us, digging into the details, and really figuring out what matters.
And today, we have quite the story. It's a personal account, really intense, from someone we're calling Leonard. It's about, well, marriage falling apart, betrayal, serious financial fraud.
And an absolutely methodical counterattack.
Exactly. So the source is Leonard's own story, his narrative of events.
Right, and our mission here isn't just to, tell a sad divorce story. It's deeper. We want to look at how this one person, because of his job and because he'd quietly prepared for years, navigated this total personal and financial crisis.
Yeah, how he managed to turn this moment of, frankly, devastating betrayal into a path back to control. It's, well, you'll see. There are some real twists.
Okay, let's set the scene. We're in Des Moines. Leonard is 54, and his job is absolutely crucial to this whole thing. He's a forensic accountant.
So his entire career is built on spotting financial funny business, finding things hidden in the numbers, tracking down fraud. That's what he does.
And he's in his second marriage to Dana Bowman. They've been together 15 years. He married her after his first divorce, when he was really buckling down, focusing on his career, building that accounting practice.
Dana, she's described as, energetic, ambitious. But here's the interesting part. She apparently had zero interest in his work, found his spreadsheets boring.
Right. Her focus, according to the source, was more on comfort, luxury, really. He funded her yoga studio. They got a bigger house, expensive cars, fancy trips, that kind of thing.
And Leonard, the guy whose job is spotting anomalies, starts seeing them at home, not in spreadsheets, but like Dana taking longer trips than planned, new clothes appearing out of nowhere, those hushed phone calls that stop when he walks in.
Classic red flags, right? Yeah. The kind his professional instincts would be screaming about. But the story says he chose to ignore them, personally at least, for a time.
But here's where it gets really fascinating. Even while maybe pushing those personal doubts aside, he had this conversation with his dad. His father warned him gently about Dana's spending. Said something like, make sure she appreciates how hard you work for it.
And that stuck with him. It wasn't about suspicion then, more like prudence. So quietly, over the next 6 years, he starts building this backup plan.
Yeah, creating LLCs, setting up some foreign accounts tied to his international work, apparently even getting into crypto. A whole parallel financial structure.
Completely separate from their joint finances, totally unknown to Dana.
It wasn't just saving, it was strategy. Building layers like financial defenses, making it hard to just grab assets quickly if things went south. It was a 6-year project, all based on that little warning from his dad and maybe his own gut feeling.
Talk about preparedness. He was building a financial lifeboat just in case.
And then the storm hit, late one Thursday night. Dana's supposedly away on a trip. He gets a text message.
Just 2 sentences, the source says. Stark.
Yeah. I'm not coming back. I found someone better and younger.
Wow. And right with that message,
a screenshot showing she just transferred $118,000 from their joint savings straight into her personal account.
Oof. Okay, so betrayal and theft all in one go.
Yeah.
What was his immediate reaction?
His text back. 2 words. Bonne chance. Good luck.
Chillingly calm. But what did he do?
Instantly checked his secure email accounts, the ones she didn't know existed, and found she'd tried to get into them.
Ah, so it wasn't impulsive. She planned this.
Exactly. The message, the transfer, the attempted email access, it confirmed premeditation. That flipped the switch for Leonard. He called his brother Jason, an IT security guy. Time to activate the plan.
So the very next morning, most people would be shattered, maybe calling friends, crying.
Not Leonard. He's executing. He activates this emergency protocol in his personal financial system.
What did that involve?
Swiftly.
Super swift. Froze all joint accounts, all joint credit cards immediately. Then used his bank contacts, remember? He's in finance to flag that $118K transfer as suspicious, potentially fraudulent.
Trying to get the bank's own investigation moving. Precisely. And simultaneously sends everything to his lawyer. Initiate divorce proceedings, grounds, financial mismanagement right off the bat.
He also told his mom.
Yeah, apparently she wasn't surprised at all, which is telling.
And Dana's reaction when she finds out she's locked out of the money?
Predictable. Panic. Calls, texts, demanding to know what he did.
And Leonard?
Silence. Complete radio silence. Didn't engage. Instead, he went to the storage unit she'd mentioned to get his stuff back.
And that's where it gets even heavier, right?
Yeah. He finds his things, but personal stuff is missing. Family photos, his dad's watch, sentimental things.
Okay, that's low.
Yeah.
It's not just the money then. It's personal. Vindictive, almost.
It solidified things for him, It wasn't just about financial strategy anymore. This felt like an attempt to erase him. So the forensic accountant pivots.
New target.
Trey Harmon, the fitness influencer guy Dana had been tagging online, the someone better, time to investigate him.
What did that initial dig turn up?
Well, Harmon Fitness, Trey's gym, was basically drowning in debt. Overdrawn business accounts, lease problems, not exactly thriving.
And the really key find early on.
Dana had co-signed a car loan with Trey 2 months before. She sent that text.
Wait, co-signed a loan with the new guy while still married and living with Leonard.
Clear proof this wasn't sudden. She was already weaving her finances with Trey's before she officially left.
Okay, so back at work on Monday, Leonard's keeping his cool.
Totally composed, tells his secretary, if Damie calls or shows up, send her to my lawyer.
But she doesn't call, she shows up. Predictably dramatic.
Oh, yeah. Big scene in the office lobby, trying to frame the frozen accounts as some kind of misunderstanding, playing to the audience.
And Leonard's response, did he blow up?
Nope. Masterclass in calm. Quietly, professionally explains that taking $118K from a joint account without permission, given her stated intent to leave.
Well, that's fraud. Just lays out the facts.
How did she take that?
The charm vanished. Anger, threats, I'll fight you for half of everything.
And Leonard just subtly hints that everything might be more complicated than she thinks, referencing his own separate assets. Leaves her confused.
Her lawyer tries a bluff.
Sends some amateur threat. Leonard just forwards it to his own lawyer. Proceed. No hesitation.
What about their friends? Did they rally around him?
Quite the opposite, actually. The source says mutual friends mostly sided with Dana. Called Leonard resentful, controlling, ignored the whole money disappearing part.
Wow. So he's getting pressure from them, too.
Yeah, but again, Leonard just disengaged, strategic silence, didn't waste energy arguing.
Meanwhile, his lawyer's digging pays off.
Big time. The lawyer finds proof Dana hadn't just taken the 118 tear. Over the past year, she'd siphoned almost $80,000 more from their joint funds.
$80,000? Where did it go?
Mostly into Trey Harmon's failing business. So now it's not just leaving and taking money, it's a pattern. Financial infidelity added to the divorce case.
This just keeps getting deeper. And then Trey himself gets involved.
Yeah, sends Leonard some kind of threatening message, which basically just confirmed he was in the loop with Dana, but probably had no idea how strategically Leonard was moving.
Another piece of the puzzle falls into place. This leads Leonard to bring his brother Jason back in, the IT guy.
Right. For a deep dive, totally legal, into Harmon Fitness LLC's finances, bank records, loans, the works.
And this is where they find the real bombshell.
The absolute game changer. Trey took out a big business loan, $175,000, 4 months earlier. Used gym equipment as collateral.
Okay. Standard business stuff, maybe.
Except Dana co-signed it.
Ah. Okay, that's bad. But wait, you said bombshell.
Here it is. Jason spots the clause in the loan docs. It specifically mentioned joint liability with the spouse. They used Leonard and Dana's marriage, their combined assets, the house, everything Leonard had built to get that loan for Trey.
Without Leonard knowing.
Without his knowledge or consent. They basically put his assets on the hook for Trey's gym debt by leveraging their marital status.
So she wasn't just stealing and co-signing. She was actively using their legal marriage to guarantee her boyfriend's debts, potentially tying up Leonard's carefully protected assets.
Exactly. Weaponizing the marriage itself. And it wasn't just the one loan. They found more. 3 business credit cards, another car lease, a lease for a new commercial space, all co-signed by Dana, all guaranteed by the marital assets.
She had no idea what she'd done, did she? Financially speaking.
Leonard realized she was clueless. Clueless about the time bomb she'd created for herself, and utterly clueless about the financial fortress Leonard had built entirely outside her view.
Her own actions, built on deceit and ignorance, were about to bring everything crashing down.
Absolutely. Leonard goes straight to his lawyer with this proof of loan fraud. The priority now. Urgent asset protection. Lock everything down before Trey's debts somehow attached to Leonard's side.
So immediate legal action.
Filed immediately. Asking the court to freeze all joint assets based on the clear evidence of fraud. Enough to stop everything in its tracks.
And while that's happening, Leonard makes a personal move.
A very calculated one. He goes to Trey's gym, just walks in, takes a look around, sees the place Dana tied him to financially.
Then confronts Trey.
Directly.
Yeah.
Calmly lays out the documents. Explains, Dana used our marriage to guarantee your loans. We're divorcing. Those guarantees based on marital status, they're dissolving. The bank's gonna call your debt now.
How did Trey react to that reality check?
Shock. Pale. Couldn't believe it. Apparently mumbled something about Dana saying Leonard was rich, money was no object.
And Leonard's response.
Perfect line. Money was never the problem. Trust was. Just devastating clarity. He wasn't there to fight, just deliver the facts Dana had hidden.
And he asked for one more thing.
His stuff back, the photos, his dad's watch.
Did he get them?
Delivered the next day, no note, just the items. A small victory, maybe?
Meanwhile, the legal hammer falls.
Urgent asset protection granted. All joint assets officially frozen. Leonard's watching his financial system. Sees Dana making frantic, failed attempts to access accounts, even trying to leverage the house for new credit. She's locked out and doesn't understand why.
Until the bank calls Trey's loans.
Then comes the panic call from Dana. What did you do? The bank recalled Trey's loans.
And Leonard explains.
Calmly. I didn't do anything to Trey. I'm protecting myself from your illegal actions. You used our marriage to get loans without my consent. That has consequences, Dana.
She tries to backtrack. We can fix this.
Yep. The come home, we can work it out. Play, too little, way too late.
Leonard's response.
Firm no. Divorce is happening. The fraud investigation related to her actions is ongoing. Trey gets a hard lesson in due diligence, hangs up, blocks her number. And the source notes something important here. He felt free, slept soundly that night. The immediate crisis was resolved on his terms.
Okay, fast forward 3 weeks. Mediation. How's Dan looking?
Exhausted, the facade is gone. Her lawyer tries to negotiate.
But Leonard's lawyer has one more card to play. And it's not from Leonard's digging.
No, this is crucial. It's from the bank's own fraud investigation, the one triggered way back when Leonard flagged that first transfer. The bank found Dana didn't just cosign.
She did what?
She falsified Leonard's signature on multiple loan documents, used his name, forged his signature, to secure those loans using their marital assets.
Forgery. Okay, that's not just divorce court anymore. That's criminal.
Exactly. And the bank wasn't playing. They'd already forwarded the file to the prosecutor. Criminal charges were coming for Dana.
Wow. How did she react to that news?
Total shock. Asks Leonard if he's serious. Maybe still thinks it's his maneuver.
But he clarifies.
Makes it crystal clear. This isn't me, Dana. This is the bank. They're pressing charges because you committed fraud against them. It wasn't revenge. It was the system responding to her crimes.
So, facing potential jail time.
Yeah.
The offer comes.
Leonard's lawyer lays it out. Sign the divorce agreement right here, right now. In return, Leonard provides a statement to the bank that might help mitigate the criminal side. He also won't pursue charges for the stolen items or the siphoned cash.
She signs.
She signs. Her whole constructed world just collapsed. She faced consequences she clearly never saw coming.
Her parting words to Leonard.
Something like, she never expected him to react this way. That he always just took things silently before.
And his response.
Quietly powerful. Said his past silence was a choice, just like her actions were a choice. Then he walked away. Didn't look back. A month later, Leonard's moved. Smaller house, older place in Des Moines. A project. Something to fix, something grounding.
What about Dana and Trey?
Updates trickle in via friends. Dana's in Colorado posting about new beginnings on Instagram. Trey's gym got sold off. He moved to Miami to develop his brand. Neither mentions the financial implosion, naturally.
Leonard's working on his house with his brother Jason.
And Jason points out, you could have destroyed them financially with the fraud charges.
Leonard's take.
Simple. Why? She's not my problem anymore.
Wow. Just moving on.
Yeah. The final scene described is him on his porch reflecting, realizing he'd let someone else define his life for 15 years, ignored signs. But when the crisis hit, he was ready.
And the feeling wasn't revenge.
No, not victory either, just freedom.
His next plan.
Taking time off, going fishing, his dad's old cabin in Minnesota, returning to something real, something his own. It's quite an ending, not just winning, but actually finding peace, reclaiming himself.
So you've just taken this deep dive with us into Leonard's world, a journey from, well, quiet observation and incredible preparation.
Through a shattering betrayal into a phase of really strategic counter moves.
Leading to some pretty severe consequences, largely stemming from Dana's own actions that Leonard was prepared to expose and leverage.
Yeah, the sources you provided paint a powerful picture. Key lessons jump out, don't they? The value of quiet, long-term preparedness, financial and legal.
Absolutely. And that huge difference between trusting your partner and, well, being deliberately blind to share finances. especially when red flags are waving.
And the reality that personal betrayal, when it crosses into actual financial crime like fraud or forgery, can trigger serious system-level consequences beyond just the divorce.
It really underscores how Leonard's professional skills, that forensic mindset, became his lifeline in a personal storm, allowed him to be methodical, not just emotional.
His story is definitely a reminder that strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's in the quiet observation, the careful planning, and then the decisive action when you need it.
Which brings us to a final thought for you to mull over. Leonard, he was ready for the financial fallout. But the betrayal, that cut much deeper, right to the core of trust, of identity. So how do we protect ourselves, not just our bank accounts, but our deeper selves, when trust is broken that profoundly? What does real recovery, that feeling of freedom Leonard found, actually look like after facing that kind of deliberate deceit?